Hello and welcome to UTB Blogcast number 59. Tonight we have Brad, Dave, and Roy. Say hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
And Alpha's on his way.
And Alpha is on his way, so he better hurry up or he's going to miss all the fun. Let's start out with talking about our own UTB survey that we had this week. We asked you what your next BlackBerry would be. I almost said iPhone. What your next BlackBerry would be. You all got me on iPhones talking about it before we went live. And our results were a little bit surprising in a way. So who wants to discuss the results?
Well, I mean, first of all, the reason we did the survey, obviously we had, was it Motley Fool? Somebody blogged on Motley Fool that it's the end of BlackBerry come this earnings call. Or, questioning if we were going to see the end of devices, which makes absolutely no sense as they're selling a brand new device right now. And as, we'll talk about it a little later, but they accidentally leaked themselves the next new device. It's just a ridiculous statement. Once again, it's earnings call time. There's all this FUD being put out into the blogosphere. And then the next day, Phone Arena picked it up and didn't question if it was the end, but just used Motley Fool as a source and said, it's the end. So it's like, we're used to seeing that by now. It's honestly boring news by now. It's not news, but it's just a boring read that once again, here's this quarter. And once again, we're being told BlackBerry's dead before we actually hear the earnings call and find out, hey, they're doing a lot better than we thought they were. So I just figured on UTB, where we're fans and where we don't need to deal with that crap, let's just talk about what people are going to choose for their next device, because we know there's more devices coming. So what are they choosing? And the results are kind of surprising because we have the D-Tech out now. The D-Tech 50 is the new model. We know about the D-Tech 60 now. We know that there is a physical keyboard device coming on its way. But by and large, the biggest winner of our survey so far, and it's not done, it's still there, people can still vote, with 39% of the votes is the Passport.
Well, I didn't vote for that. I voted for the Storm 2.
I did not have a make your own on there, Dave.
Then I must have been kidding. Yeah.
It's not that surprised that the Passport is it's winning the survey. I think it's the best device ever. Even if you use a Priv or a D-Tech, and even if in 5 years from now there is no BlackBerry 10 device to buy, BlackBerry Passport will still be the best BlackBerry ever, with the keyboard, with the screen. If Samsung was released this kind of device, it will sell more than the S7 or the Note Boom. So.
And there'd be less houses catching fire and less cars catching
boom.
fire.
Yeah, the Note Boom.
Not lost on me, Roy. I love you, man. Yeah.
So it's not that surprising the Passport is winning.
No, it's not. And to be fair, we have a fair number of BB10 fans voting, and so that I guess there's no surprise, because it is, to me, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably is not only the most interesting, but one of the most well-built pieces of machinery ever known to mobile devices. It's a fantastic piece of machinery, absolutely, no doubt. So no surprise at all that it's winning. To me, insanely or not or whatever, the Z30 would come so close to that. And it just because I'm an audio freak, I love the way that thing can play music. I love that phone. And I don't.
But we're not
have a problem
talking
at
about
all.
what the favorite phone is. We're talking about what will be your next device.
Okay,
so I didn't include any dead phones on there. It was just phones that you could go and buy now or we know are upcoming.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, let me just run through the results real quick. With 39% of the vote so far, like I said, people can still vote. We've got the BlackBerry Passport coming in second with 26% of the vote. We've got the DTEC 60. Coming in third with 17% is the upcoming physical keyboard Android device. Next on the list, 6% is the BlackBerry Priv. And then tied next up is the Classic and the DTEC 50. That surprised me. And then in last place with a whole whopping 3%, and I thought I would be the only one that voted for this, is the Leap. I wasn't the only one that voted for it. Yeah, Leapers. So yeah, there you go. We've got people, the same amount of people want the Classic as want the DTEC 50.
The DTEC 50 is a low-end device, and BlackBerry fans, I think our readers, the hardcore readers, want high-end device or a keyboard device.
Yeah. Well, I agree with what you. Well, let me rephrase that and say that I think that the DTEC is a mid-range device. That's my humble opinion. It's not. I don't think it's well. You trot it out today, maybe people look at it as a low-end device. I don't think so. I consider it sort of a mid-range device. I don't have one in my hands to test. I wish I did, but you know, it's going to run circles around quite a few machines out there, and it's going to get beaten by a bunch of other machines out there. But I think that it can hold its own, no doubt.
I would actually really like a DTEC 50. I think as much as I like my Priv, and just to have my hands on a truly affordable BlackBerry phone that I could show off to people that they would probably want, you know, the people in my area, the people that I'm surrounded by that would never actually look at a BBOS phone, no matter how many times I clock them over the head with my Passport. But something that I could use as like a selling tool would be great. But I voted Elite because I've got Elite in the mail coming to me right now. I traded my Classic off for Elite. So I was just still surprised that, you know, especially now that we know that the Classic has ended its production run. But at the same time, the Classic really is the next step from the Bold. And like the reason I wanted a Classic so bad was because it was like a Bold. And I kind of skipped the last Bold because I stuck with my Torches, you know, and it's like, oh, I just never had that. So it's like, I wanted that. And now I'm trading that for a Leap.
Did you have pitchforks to go with your Torches?
Of course, man. You gotta have your tools when you're going after the monster.
I'm just checking, you know.
Frankenstein's iPhone.
Well, hey, guess what? This is the 59th Blogcast, and coincidentally, this is the last day on Earth that I am 59.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
How coincidental is that?
September birthdays
Awesome.
are the best birthdays.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what are you buying tomorrow, Dave?
Well, I haven't quite decided. There's lots of opportunities. There's guitars, there's cell phones, there's amplifiers, there's quadcopters, there's all kinds of things I could buy.
There's the white van that says free candy on the side. There's so many things you can buy.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, there you go. Carry on now. Just a coincidence.
Well, happy early birthday, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dave.
We're just a few hours away, yeah.
And I expect every viewer to go comment on the channel post saying happy birthday, Dave.
Mm-hmm. How many?
Every single one. And then Erica needs to go respond to everyone saying, Dave's not here, man.
Yeah, that's me. Moving right along.
What's going on, Alpha?
How you guys doing? Everybody
Absolutely
good?
fabulous. Oh yeah,
Glad you're
we're
here.
all good.
So, did anyone have anything else to say? What's your next BlackBerry, Alpha? What are you choosing next?
My next BlackBerry is going to be a D-Tech 50 because I traded my Priv with a good friend of mine. Some of you might know him. His name is he uses BlackBerry devices. His name is Ian Torch. Um
Yeah.
yeah, Ian and I are pretty good friends. He really wanted a Priv. So I traded him my Priv, which I'm regretting every day. But I traded him my Priv because we trade phones back and forth. So right now he has the Priv. I am Privless, so I'm back on my passport. But I think sometime I think next week or the week after I'm gonna pick up a D-Tech 50.
Right on.
Mm.
It's I mean I know I'm sacrificing the physical keyboard, the screen, the camera, but I want to give it a try. I definitely want to give it a try.
What just happened to Dave?
I don't know. Are you okay?
No, I left a bunch of people at the office, and they were talking about me on this blog thing, and so I left them at the office in the boardroom, and now I know what they're doing. They're sitting there watching us. So, hi guys at the office. I love you all, and I will be sure to make fun of you shortly.
I have two things to say. First of all, I choose the next physical keyboard device because it will be the most look-like password device within Android. That's the first one. And did you saw what facts Motley Fool based when they wrote that BlackBerry is going to exit the hardware division? Did you saw it?
Say again.
You mean again?
No, I didn't hear
Based
anything
on
on
that, BlackBerry have in accessories 40% off on all accessories on Shop BlackBerry site. So every company that make and sell on their site are going to exit the hardware division.
Yeah.
You know, Roy, it occurred to me after doing some reading last night that it is cyclical, and it is, take some, it's sick and it's cyclical. It's people who short stocks. That's what they're doing. The same thing's happening to Apple right now. Because their announcements are going to come up soon, and it's just a bunch of people who are shorts. They want to short the stock, so they either pay for or create, blogs and web blogs that are negative and are almost 100% untrue, and we've seen it over and over again over the last 2 years we've been doing this or whatever. We've seen it time and time again, and it's just become obvious that it's just a machine. It's a machine that does these things before earnings calls, companies' quarters and whatever, and people with an agenda. They want to short the stock, and that's what they do. And it's relentless, it's consistent, and it's going to happen next quarter. It's going to happen next year. It never ends, and it's pretty much all bullshit.
We should make a monthly blogcast that's called "Is BlackBerry Dead Now?"
Yeah, really. Is it now? No, wait. Is it now?
Do it, Roy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
I think Roy just volunteered to create a new podcast.
Absolutely.
That
That's
can
all
be found
him.
on UTB networks.
Yeah, and it's not just this industry. It's obviously everywhere else. Although I don't have my finger on the pulse of everywhere else, it is if there's some interest or investment in some kind of a stock or whatever. There's people on both sides, and the people that want to short it, they are the ones behind making these negative articles, which leads me to, I mean, I used to get really angry about it. Now it's just hilarious. It's consistent. It never ends. It won't stop. And those buffoons, you know, they're just going to keep doing it. It's pathetic.
Erica, what's your next BlackBerry? And then we'll move on to the next.
Oh, mine is the next physical keyboard BlackBerry that's coming out next year. At least that's my plan.
You know what? I think I'm on that bandwagon too.
Because I like pushing buttons.
We know that.
The next thing I have on my list is the earnings report. Is there anything else you want to say about that we haven't already?
Blah, blah, blah. Honestly, the only thing I had to say about the earnings report is that it's coming, and that's why we're seeing, you know, this proliferation of troll articles right now. I mean, I think the big thing that people are jumping on right now, and they're pushing that agenda, is this is our deadline, right? This is when Chin said that he would make a decision about hardware, and he said that last year, right? He said that it was actually a little over last year. He's given himself a year from that point to make a decision, and he said that within a year they would figure out what they were going to do with it. I think he cut that deadline short already with the last earnings call. I don't think it took him a year. I think it took him 3 quarters to decide what he was going to do about hardware. And what he did with hardware is he shuffled it under another umbrella, which is the mobility solutions. So that whole question of, is hardware going to make money within a year? It's not even a question anymore, because that's not, hardware is not its own division. It's not its own little area. It's now under the mobility division. And all that needs to happen is that mobility division needs to make money. It needs to be profitable. And Dave, silent buddy.
What can I tell you? People love me. It's my birthday. Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, look at what they've got going on. It's the patents. Someone wrote the other day on the site about the Paratech antenna possibly being licensed out. We know about the radar that's now been picked up by its first major customer. How many different patents are already licensed by these other companies? I don't think it's going to take much to make that division profitable. And I'm really hoping that we find on this next earnings call that the mobility solutions is profitable. And if we find out it is, there's no question about hardware anymore. None.
Yeah, agree with that. And it's the same people who pick on that write these negative articles to short the stock and whatnot, and they can't get off the bandwagon. That's whatever. To me, they become less and less of a voice and more of a joke. They're immaterial. It's entertaining, but it's useless. And as time goes on, and you produce more devices, they look more and more like a joke, and less like the authority that they thought they were or wanted to be or whatever. I don't really care. I used to care, you know, about what they said because I thought it was damaging. Now they're just a joke, and it's humorous to watch them and kind of entertaining to engage them and defeat their, you know, somewhat weak arguments.
I think that in the next earnings call, Chen will announce a full integration between Best Growth and Blue Dynamics. And as far as what I'm thinking, we will replace the name of Best 12 to another unified server management or something like this. It's going to be huge for BlackBerry to integrate best 12 with good dynamics. And I want to know how many people subscribe to the Hub Plus services. It's going to be interesting to know how many people pay for this.
Yeah, I took a poll at the office, and I guess there was a couple of people I talked to that were interested in it, and they were more interested in the BlackBerry keyboard, believe it or not. And the Samsung people can't get it. And there were some people who wanted the Hub, but kind of on the fence of signing up for it because Samsung's coming up with, I forget what it is, but it's sort of Hub-like, whatever. There will
looks
be
like a mess, to be honest. It
does
really
it look
does
like a mess. I haven't seen anything.
Just from their screenshots, it's not just like a messaging sort of thing. It's got your calendar events in there, and not like how we do where you pull it down and you see it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah,
like
well,
everything
when you pull it down,
much.
I don't want to see it.
That is what she said.
That is what she said.
It was sad. It was a sad day for Brad.
Yeah. I can't even remember what we were talking about now because that was funny.
You guys really know how to keep it classy.
Yeah, well, it's also like completely derailing the conversation.
Alpha, do you have something relevant to add?
Yes. I'm interested in seeing. I want to hear more about BlackBerry Radar. So far, is Caravan the only one that's using BlackBerry Radar, or do we know of any more companies that have adopted it?
It's the only company that accept to release that they are customers of the router, I think.
We know that there was a handful of companies that were trying it.
Right.
So we don't know how many of those are actually picking up, how many are still on a trial basis with it. There may be more picking it up. We know that Carrier has bought in, and like what Roy said, they're allowing their name to be used, because anytime you have some situation like that, there's going to be companies that just don't want to be tied to something, right? They'll buy it, they'll use it, but they don't want to be publicly known for it.
Yeah, and that's a fair comment. And also, I would suggest that, like any manufacturer or provider, there'd be a group of people testing a new product. So I don't know how many of those there are, but and like Brad said, some of those are going to come on board and not want to be public about it, and some of them will come on board and happily be public about it. So yeah, these guys are the first to publicly state that, and I don't know how many others are online.
I think I think that the BlackBerry Radar can be huge for BlackBerry. I really do. I really think that they are definitely onto something with BlackBerry Radar.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's the beginning of their foray into IoT from an equipment perspective. That certainly isn't the end of the line or the whole scope, because the management of whatever devices you have are also, excuse the expression, in BlackBerry's radar, because they have the infrastructure and the network to be able to handle whoever's endpoints need to be scrutinized or looked at by BlackBerry software. So like Bez is to any kind of mobile handset type of endpoint, BlackBerry can be, if they want to be, anybody's IoT endpoint, if they want to be. They have the infrastructure worldwide. And that created some silence.
You're good at doing that, Dave.
I would actually love for BlackBerry. I would love to for BlackBerry to put more out there in terms of how big their infrastructure is and what it encompasses. I would love to hear more about that. I would love for more of that to be out there on the internet, so people can know just how I guess how big of a company BlackBerry is and all the things they're into and what they provide.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a map of all of the nodes they have on the planet Earth. There's lots of them everywhere, and they're in carriers, and they're in their own data centers here and there and everywhere. But I don't think I've ever seen a map of all their nodes. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, we need to understand where BlackBerry is, and right now they're completing their turnaround. They're in a growth stage, but their growth stage is a long way from where they were at their peak, right? And it
Sure.
And I mean, honestly, it may not be to the point that they want to brag about it. You know what I mean? We know they're growing. We know they're hitting new markets. We can see it on the earnings call that it is turned around, and we're just waiting for it to hit that point where all these other people will shut up. But compared to where they were when they were the smartphone maker, you know, and I just don't think they haven't reached where they were, so it's probably not a bragging point yet. They're probably providing as limited of information as they can because of that, and to help them continue to grow. I could be wrong. It's Dave's birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, I was wrong this morning when I got up. That was a fairly dumb idea. And stuff.
Well, here we go. This is one of the questions about that. It's from Morpheus on the channel. With the financial results about to be published, is BlackBerry finally turning a corner in terms of hardware? Are BlackBerry starting to get the hang of cost-saving hardware? And I think what he's getting at there is you know, having other manufacturers make their designs. Is this going to work for them? And this actually brings me up to a kind of a discussion I was having on BBM channel with another reader over there at Troll Patrol, where the guy's like, oh, it's just, you know, an Alcatel rebranded. And it's not. You know, the body? Sure, it is. Same screen, same sides. You know, it's got a different back. But they've done more with it. There are differences between the two phones. And I think it's really smart what BlackBerry's doing right now, because they don't have the money to be throwing into phones. I mean, we look at the Priv and we look at the cost, and we know what stopped the Priv from being sold initially was that high cost. And we know that with the amount of phones that BlackBerry's selling, they don't do volume sales right now. They just don't. So they have to have that price up because of the design involved, because of everything that's involved in creating a phone. And now by using these reference designs from TCL, they have cut those costs dramatically while still being able to provide their services, their software, and make the changes that they need to the phone to make it a BlackBerry phone. So I think it's great that they're doing this with the D-Tech 50. I think they're probably doing it with the D-Tech 60. The next phone, obviously, they won't be doing that because it's a keyboarded phone, and they're not going to go put, you know, Samsung's little chiclet key cover on top of their phone. So it's going to be a BlackBerry keyboard, obviously. What do you guys think?
I think that the plan, interestingly, was in order to get you know, Chen's view of pulling the hardware into the mobile. Now I lost the other word, mobile services or whatever it is. It had to be a TCL type play, and I'm looking forward to the things that they they do come out with next. I wish I knew exactly what was coming. Lots of people have seen the rumors, but I am looking forward to see yet another keyboard design. How that fits in with a TCL play, I don't know, because those guys have never made one. That can't be another reference design. It has to be from scratch. So I'm intrigued, and I think I want one.
Yeah, I want one too. I'm gonna get that keyboard BlackBerry when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna get that.
I mean, I love the Priv, and it's fantastic as a hybrid. Super cool device. Love it. But I really want to see what these guys come up with. It's, we'll see what they bring in.
I'm a little scared.
Don't be scared, dear. Don't be scared.
I'm not. I mean, if anyone... Go ahead, Erica. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm a little scared. I'm so used to my Passport now because I've been using it since day one. I'm just worried that going back to something that is more like a classic, which is what the image I have in my mind, will just be too much of a culture shock, and I won't like it simply because I'm used to the bigger size.
Mm-hmm.
I have something to say about the rebranding.
That is what she said.
Go ahead, Roy.
Most of manufacturers and mobile device manufacturers are using the same parts, chips in their devices. So basically, most of the devices are coming from the same factories, have the same Qualcomm chips, have the same plastics, the same sapphire glass, same thing. So I really don't care if the design is made by TCL or any other company. I think it's the keyboard device will not be a TCL device, I think, as far as from what I know. But you use an iPhone device and you have a Samsung screen. So
exactly,
it's not there. You use everyone. Everyone use everyone else. You have a Huawei device with a Sony camera. You have the same plastics. There's no other plastics that manufacturers can use. So it's basically, like Chen said, the mobile devices are not the future in mobile. So it's not really matter if it's Alcatel rebranded device, as long as it have a BlackBerry software and BlackBerry Touch to make it better.
So it sounds to me, Roy, like you think the whole industry is like kind of incestuous.
It is. I mean, and it's been a few generations since that iPhone. I forget which one it was. It may have been like the 5. May have been. I think it was the 5, but it was like 70% made by Samsung. The components were.
Right.
It was 70% made by Samsung. I just don't remember which iPhone it was. But anybody that's had any dealings with manufacturing knows that this is not unusual. This might be unusual in a cell phone market, what BlackBerry did with Alcatel. But if you deal with like other types of manufacturing, it's extremely common. You need a product. You go to a manufacturer that makes that product, and then you personalize it. I need this, I need this, I need this. And then they go through and they make those changes. And each change that you make is a huge cost, right? Because you've got all the setup, you've got all the engineering that goes behind it, you've got the tooling behind it. So each individual change adds up. And it's not something simple. It's not something like so many people were complaining about it not having the BlackBerry logo on the front, and how much would that cost? Well, that would be a huge cost, because I'm sorry, the BlackBerry logo just isn't painted on the glass. It's not. It's under there. There's something, and they'd have to do that with every one of those screens. Or they could just get the screen and put it on the phone and worry about what's important on the phone, which is the software. And I believe it has, did it have a different, I'm bad with like the components, but it had, I know there's some chip inside was different than the Idol. I really don't know.
in the early years of mobile device, we saw a real difference between devices. As Ericsson, BlackBerry, iPhone, Samsung. Now all the devices are basically the same. I entered in London to a Carphone warehouse, and I looked on the wall, and I saw all the devices that look the same for me. So there is no real difference besides of megapixels and how much you love the brand.
But just because Alcatel manufactured this phone and you can hold the DTEC 50 and you can hold the Idol 4 side by side and go, oh, these look alike, it doesn't mean that they can't make a BlackBerry keyboard. You know, I mean, that's what people are looking at. Well, who's got a BlackBerry phone? Yeah, who's got a keyboarded phone? What are they going to make? I mean, BlackBerry can come in and say, this is what I need. Here's the design everything step by step from the front, and this manufacturer is going to make the phone. You know, and they will get their components like what Roy's talking about. They may get the screens from Samsung. They may get the chips from Qualcomm. They'll get everything that they need that BlackBerry is designed and BlackBerry is asked for and make a phone. So it's like, because the DTEC 50 is a reference design of the Idol 4 and the DTEC 60 is probably a reference to design of, I forget what it's called. I'm expecting something totally new and fresh with the keyboard phone, whether TCL makes it or whether Foxconn makes it or whatever, but I'm expecting that phone to be fully designed by BlackBerry, just because nobody else is making.
Right. You know, who else has got that on their drawing boards?
Right.
Nobody, I think.
Did we get too far off topic there, Erica? Are you napping?
I'm just making sure that you guys are done. And I was trying to think. I didn't want to be misunderstood when I said that I was scared. I'm not scared about what they will do with the phone. I'm scared about how I will receive it. I'm so used to Passport. So I don't want people thinking that I'm worried about what BlackBerry's going to do. Right. I trust BlackBerry. They are pros at being simple and elegant and making things simple, just work and do what it needs to do. So I trust them in that way.
That is a good thing.
That's what he said.
Just one vlogcast without that stupid joke, please. Please.
Come on, we can't make it like 2 hours in our group without that stupid joke.
All right. Well, the only thing I have left on my list is the new messaging app from Google.
Don't use it, Snowden says.
What's it called? Allo?
Hello.
Hello and goodbye.
I think they should call it a new low. No, that's bad.
Apparently, the big thing about it is that it integrates its assistant, which basically means it's a messenger with Siri.
Which when they announced Allo, not Siri, but the Google Hello to Google, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Google,
when they announced it, they said that they would not save that information. And here we are, was it 2 months, 3 months later, it's actually out. It's here now. And they've completely reverted on what they said. And now it's opted in that it's going to save everything forever unless you go in and purposely opt it out. And I think to completely opt out of it, you have to turn off that assistant function entirely, I think, which then means everything that Allo brings to the table as far as this is what it does that other apps don't do is gone.
Yeah, and that's
completely lose out on it.
That's really unfortunate. It's the insidious thing of all these new kinds of apps and some established ones like WhatsApp or whatever. It's the insidious thing of opting in and not looking at the fine print and whatever. And all these people gather all of your information and sell it, and they make money off of you existing. and it's insidious. In my humble opinion, it should be illegal. It's a sad state of affairs where people just opt into stuff without probably really knowing what they're opting into, and then all of their information is sold for profit, and you are the product, and you probably didn't mean to be this way, but you use this free thing. You think it's free, but it's not, because you're the product. And I really think that it should be actually illegal. It's a sad state of affairs. And every stinking new app that comes out like this, all the social media apps, the Instagrams, the Snapchats, the WhatsApps, the thises and the thatses, and this new one, Allo, they're all like that. All they want to do is take your information and sell it for profit. To me, it should be illegal.
I'm sorry, I don't think it matters what setting that you toggle or what you opt in or opt out of. When it's Google, it's never fully gone from your system. It's always going to have its fingers in there somehow.
Yeah, and I run that risk, running a priv, right? So do I use the Chrome on the priv? No, I don't. I use Firefox. Do I use Google Music Play? No, I don't. Actually, that's a blog coming up because there's something that really makes me angry about that. But do I use anything that Google supplies? No, I don't. Well, that's not true. I use YouTube. And so they have their hooks in me in some ways. They don't have their hooks in me in all the ways. But, I have no way of detecting whether using Android as an operating system, does it for them or not. I mean, I don't use all their extra things. No, I don't. No maps, no nothing. I don't use their voice search either. But, and some people would say that makes my phone useless or not as usable. I don't think so. I use this phone more than most people do, but I just don't use their apps to do it. So is Google evil because they put out an operating system? I don't know. Am I happier that BlackBerry did it? Yes, because it's so far not rootable. And I'll bet you the best minds have tried and failed. But I don't know. Do I feel safer with BB10? Yeah. Do I feel as safe running Android? The day I bought this priv, which was launch day, I drove home going, I don't know what you did. What have you done? And didn't feel all that comfortable with it. As time's gone by, I feel a little more comfortable with it, but I still don't opt in to any of the other Google services. I just don't. Google Play, yeah, that's how you get your apps. YouTube, yeah. Anything else? No.
Can I just jump in, because I keep hearing this, and I keep hearing it, and it's not just you, Dave. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people within our group. It's a lot of UTBers saying, "Oh, I'm not going to use, Chrome. I'm going to use Firefox. I'm going to use Firefox for this. That Firefox is the browser to use. Blah blah blah." And here's my thing, right? We understand that Google is after our information, and they use that information for their own advertising. Argue what you want, pro or con that. I don't like the fact that they do it, but how afraid are you of the bad guys getting your information, right? And that goes back to what I keep yelling about are the vulnerabilities and the exploits.
Yeah,
and that's what
it's not bad guys.
Well, it is bad guys. And do you know where Firefox sits as far as the top 50 vulnerabilities with CVE details?
Yeah, I've seen some of that too. And
it's number 3. It's number 3.
I get
The
that.
only thing above that is Linux kernel and Mac OS.
Yeah, your bad guys are different than my bad guys.
My bad guys are guys that's going to go get in, steal my identities, take over my phone, steal my credit card details.
Yeah,
those are the bad guys I'm most concerned about.
Yeah, I respect that. And my bad guys are just abusing me and selling my information. So I don't subscribe to that, and I don't want to. So we both have bad guys, and they're slightly different.
I think that the topic is not which browser to use with the priv. It's what information you're willing to give to Google. Because when you use a credit card, I think the credit company knows what you're buying, and they can advertise to you whatever they want. The police can check where are you, and where are you, what is your location by ping your cell phone. So it's all matter what you're willing to give Google or any other company, what information you're willing to give. I will not give them my credit card. I will not give them a lot of things, but I don't really care to give them my email, and they will send me some junk mail because I don't read it anyway. And to Facebook, I will not give that picture of a small child or whatever. And to another company, I will not give other things. It all depends what you're willing to give, what information you're willing to give to Google, and what no. So
that's right, and good for you for bringing that up. And to be honest, this group of people is more conscious of these things than 99% of the populace.
Right.
So the populace just says yes to the permissions, and the populace doesn't look at opting out. The populace has been told that this is free, and so they use it. And so the populace is being sold and used as a thing for these companies to make millions and millions and billions of dollars. Billions. And so it's a sad thing as far as I'm concerned. And it's kind of like tax loopholes to me. American tax loopholes. You want to let a company go make hundreds of billions of dollars, but pay 0.005% tax on it. That's just as disgusting as allowing companies that make billions and billions of dollars to use you as their product. Both of those things should be illegal. I don't get it. And I'm not a socialist or anything like that. I just don't think that those things should be normal.
Well, unfortunately, most things in this world, in this day and age, there's no privacy.
Right, and that should not be the norm.
And you're right. It shouldn't be the norm. But like you said, there's no privacy. I mean, I love Amazon, but I'm really getting tired of the targeted ads that Amazon always sends me, based on what I viewed on Amazon's site or what I brought or this or that. And I think like we're saying that people don't know some, and I also think that some people just accept it. They become complacent with it, and they just accept it, and they say this is what it is. Like my brother, for instance, who is just as knowledgeable as I am about this stuff, loves Google, and him and I were having a talk today about Allo, and we were talking with another friend of ours who is also a member of our group, and who was very conscious about Allo not being so private. And all my brother kept saying is, well, Google has all my information anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. That's just the way it is, and I'm going to accept that as the status quo. And what we were trying to say is, but you shouldn't accept it as the status quo,
That's
You
such
shouldn't
a
just
zombie
go.
attitude.
Yes, you shouldn't just go. Oh well, they have my information anyway, so it's acceptable. It isn't acceptable. It's
No,
never
it's
going to
not.
be acceptable. And
No,
I think I agree with you, Dave. It's just a sad state
it
to
is
me
a
that
sad state of affairs, buddy. And how is it that we, rail against the government for peeking into our views and looking at what we're doing? How crazy is it that we get pissed off at the government for doing these things, but it's okay for Google and it's okay for Apple and it's okay for WhatsApp and it's okay for Facebook because
That's been my argument. That's been my argument all
they're
along.
my friends, but screw you, government, for looking into my stuff. Screw you.
That's been an argument
Yeah.
all along. It's like Apple says we have no back doors, but they freely give front doors to Facebook. It's like, yeah, they won't let the government in the back door, but all the government really needs to do is create an app that collects all that information and put it on their app store, and boom, they're done. Because Apple allows, and I'm sorry, Google, and to an extent, even BlackBerry allows these apps to come in that collect this information. Now, BlackBerry's always been a little more upfront about it because we have those permissions that we can see, whereas Google kind of hides what those permissions were. I know that they've gotten better with it. And, that's probably one of the reasons why Facebook just absolutely refuses to support BlackBerry is because they weren't able to collect all that information. The BlackBerry Facebook app has always been made by BlackBerry. It was not made by Facebook. And they just cut those APIs off because they probably weren't collecting the information that they want. Now they've got their WhatsApp service, which was supporting BlackBerry greatly. It was one of the most updated apps in BlackBerry 10. Now they're pulling it out entirely and they're advertising people, hey, jump to iPhone, jump to Android so that you can be supported so we can collect information on you again.
Yeah.
But my thing is what's known versus what's not known. We know what Google collects. We know what Facebook collects. I will not put a Facebook app or Facebook owned app on I've just lied. I've got Instagram on there. But I won't put a Facebook app on my phone at all.
But you can.
No, me neither.
I turned the permissions off, and as well as I could keep from it. I do have Gmail. I do use Gmail, and the Gmail is my Gmail email address is the email address I use to give to retailers so that they can spam me. It's what I use to buy stuff from retailers online. That is my spam address. Like my banking institutions, the people that I owe money to, the people I make payments to, they don't have a Gmail address for me. I will not use it for that. So, it's like I know what Google does. I know what Facebook does, and I've made the decisions of what I'm going to use and what I'm not going to use. What is not cool to me is that unknown. So when you're laying yourself open, when you're buying yourself an iPhone that has all these vulnerabilities that can be exploited by anyone that's halfway smart, or when you're using Firefox, you're laying yourself open to be hacked. It's like when you're using Google, you're choosing what you're giving them. But when you use something that's so full of exploits, you can be hacked and you have no idea what's going on, and you may never know what's going on. Now, I will say, because I'm looking at the top 50 as I'm talking, number 3 is Firefox. Number 4 is Chrome. Number 5 is iPhone iOS. So, I mean, which browser should we be using? Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to, I knew Firefox is up there, but as I'm looking at it now I don't want to use Chrome. Oh, well, do I want to use iPhone OS? Hell no. But we do know, because it made big news, that everyone wants Flash Player dead, right? Facebook wants Flash Player dead. This was this a year ago? Was this 2 years ago? Everybody's crying for the death of Flash because it's so risky. It's so unsafe. You're putting all these people at risk by using Flash. Flash is number 6 as far as the top 50
BlackBerry
products.
killed it before anybody else did.
They did. But I mean, that's what we need to realize. Flash by Adobe is number 6. Coming in before that is Mac OS, Linux kernel, Firefox, Chrome, iPhone OS, then Flash Player. So it's like all these people wanted Flash Player dead. Let's go after iPhone. Let's go after Chrome. Let's go after Firefox. Let's go after Mac OS X. How does Apple feel knowing that their two major products are number 1 and 5 as far as the top 50 most risky softwares that you can have?
Well, I think that they have,
5.
yeah, I think that they have courage.
That's courage.
Yeah, it's courage to be in the top 10 and have 2 spots in the top 10. I think that takes courage.
And it's courage to say we are secure when you're holding those spots like they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, how could you call it anything but awesome and courageous?
As long as the Mac OS is turned off, it's secure. You just need to put it into the box, send it away, and you're very secure.
That's right. Yeah.
How far do you think we are from having a BlackBerry browser on Android?
Very far.
We've got an internal browser within BBM in Android. You open up a link, it opens it up within a browser within BBM. Is that just like a window to another browser, or is that a BlackBerry browser? I don't know. Anyone know?
No, I don't know. I've never looked. It's funny. I was thinking about that the other day, and then a dog with a curly tail went by. But anyway, when I've noticed that when I click on a link sometimes and it opens up, you know, the internal browser machine, I wanted to figure out, you know, what that app was, you know, and I you know, at this point I don't know what it is, because sometimes, you know, let's be honest, it doesn't always render quickly or at all. I was trying to look at something the other day. No, it was this morning. It was actually a PDF download, and it didn't render. You know, all it did was download the PDF as opposed to rendering it when it was finished. So I ended up clicking it 3 times and ended up downloading it 3 times without realizing it until later.
I've honestly turned that off. My BBM opens links and Chrome. It is Chrome that I use on my Priv.
Yeah.
Now I want to change that. So, you know, hey,
right.
someone tell me what browser to use.
You know, you can use Opera. You can use Dolphin. If you don't like...
Wayno's going to yell at me for not reading his posts. I'll just ask Wayno.
Yeah, well, he's not finished yet, is there?
He's not finished.
More. There's a pile more.
I use Opera and I use Dolphin.
Yeah, both of those are pretty good, but they have their idiosyncrasies. I'm still using Firefox, and you know, when Brad asked me how the hell I got a UTB blogs icon on my on my Priv for our site, it's because of Firefox.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Dave, and you may just decide not to be my friend anymore after this.
No, I'll love you anyway.
Do you choose to use Firefox because you can continue to play Google-owned YouTube videos in the background when you minimize it?
That's one reason. You know, that's one reason. I like the fact that I have 6 or so you know, forum sites that I don't have an app for because I'm not a Tapatalk user. And so I can save to my home screen and actually have the actual website forum icon, you know, in a grouping. If you saw my last blogcast, you would have seen my home screen. And there's a group in there with a bunch of sites. And I don't use, like I said, I don't use Tapatalk. So, you know, they all have the icons of those websites. So it looks like you have an app kind of thing, kind of like BB10. But anyway, I do that. And is it speedy? Might not be the fastest browser on the planet, but I do have, you know, concerns about what you brought up Brad, about security and whatnot. That's it's not second. I have security and privacy, both sort of, in my brain all the time, which is why I'm a BlackBerry user in the first place. And so now that we're in the Android world, it's sort of it's a bigger pool.
I'm American, so of course, like everything that we do, it's the lesser it's the lesser of two evils, like our presidential race, right? So it's all the lesser of two evils. So when you're looking at privacy and security, it's like, what's more important to you? Because they're not the same thing. You've got privacy, you've got security, and then, going back to the browser thing, that I think we beat that dead horse enough, but it's like you're choosing privacy over security, where I am barely choosing security over privacy.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's not much of a difference in terms of security,
And just so you know, I'm American too.
Then come vote with us.
Yeah, you know what? I'd have to get a gun first.
Oh, so we know who you're voting for then.
Just so that people know, I was born in the States and moved to Canada, so whatever.
But he's been there long enough to say about.
It's about that.
So do we have anything else, Erica, since Dave and I rambled on?
That's it. Just another ramble
really?
about UTB Blogcast.
Let me talk about some non-UTB blogs things for a minute. We really need somebody that's really into video games for our UTB Geek site. So anybody like to write for fun and, want people to read what they're writing and like video games, contact us.
Yeah, there's fun and profit, and then there's just fun, and we're talking about the latter.
Yeah. What a great way to put it.
Yeah, come one, come all. Come on, be famous. Sign up.
Anybody else have anything?
No, I got asked 2 or 3 times this week if I was going to buy the new iPhone 7. And I said, yeah, I found one on the internet that has a headphone jack. So that's what I'm going for.
Hey, here's the thing. Here I go again, saying that's my fallback. Here's the thing. I hate that. But here it is. Are you ready for it? No,
I'm ready.
The iPhone, it didn't sell like it was, right? We know that. Apple made a decision not to report their initial sales. And immediately T-Mobile.
That's a first, by the way.
It is a first. And that's something that they've always reported as a method of marketing, because when they say that, look how many people are buying our phones, more of the dim-witted run out to buy the phones, right? So this has been a huge method of marketing for them, and they decided to leave that behind this time. So what happens, somebody else that I would consider a dimwit, but we're being a more polite UTB, but John Laguerre comes out and says, hey, this is the most iPhones we've sold. This is more than the last time, without really mentioning what he had been mentioning to his users all along, that they had a trade-up program that, hey, you bring in your iPhone 6 or 6S, you get a free iPhone 7, right? Now, I have somebody that I speak to every single day. They're an iPhone user. They hear what I think about iPhone every single day. The poor person hears every single story that we post on UTB blogs about exploding iPhones, about how users are being cheated, about how the iPhone 7 is actually a worse phone than the iPhone 6, which sucked to begin with. They hear all this, and he comes up to me today and says, I'm picking up my new iPhone on Monday. And I'm like, why in the world would you do this? This isn't a T-Mobile customer. This is an AT&T customer. It's like, why would you possibly do that? These headphones, are already crashing right now. You listen to music all the time. There's no reason why he should be getting an iPhone 7. He's getting it for free from AT&T. You trade in your iPhone 6, you get it for free.
There is no free.
Well, they're paying sales tax, right? And they're trading in their old.
There is no free.
It's a trick. I mean, that's what we need to realize, that this is how the iPhone 7 is going to have great sales numbers. Because if think about it. I'm holding a Priv in my hand right now, right? Say BlackBerry comes out with a Priv 2 next year, and it's the same exact phone. And they say, hey, you turn in your Priv 1 and we'll give you a Priv 2 for free. All you pay is sales tax. I'm going to go do it. I'll have a year newer phone. Maybe one less scratch on the screen or one less dent on the corner where it bounced across the pavement 5 times. One of those things. So Apple will be able to turn around and say that the iPhone 7 sold like gangbusters when they're not actually selling them, man. They're giving them away to iPhone 6 and iPhone 6s users. That's two of the carriers that we know about right now. The fastest growing carrier, which is T-Mobile, and the second largest carrier, which is AT&T. I don't know if Verizon's doing that. I really don't know, but that's going to skew numbers in a huge way. Verizon is
the same thing. Yeah. Get a free iPhone, blah 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 blah. You turn in your old one, you get a free one. Yeah.
So it's artificial numbers, and that's what we need to make sure everybody understands that every time they're talking about, oh, the iPhone sold X amount of phones. Yeah, those are artificial sales.
Yeah. Well, I just read that what did they say? The sales were 25% lower for the iPhone 7 for the launch weekend as it was for the 6S during the launch weekend.
That's 25% less phone.
Yeah. It's definitely 25% less phones.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. GHK or GFK or whatever the source was, and it's unsubstantiated. So, is it real? I don't know. Is it a trend? Probably. I think the world is starting to understand that iPhone has peaked, and that was probably last year. And so now I think the world is starting to see, those without the rose-colored glasses are starting to see that, the peak has happened and there's a decline in sales. It's just a fact of the matter. These poor bastards that have put all of their eggs in the iPhone basket are going to start to hurt, and they're going to have to change something. I don't know what they're going to do, but the iPhone's not the holy grail anymore. It can't be. It's consistently declining in sales numbers and in worldwide percentage of sales. So something has to change.
Their market share. Their market share also.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry. The market share is declining every quarter, every month. It's just consistently declining. So we
really don't have much room to talk about market share, obviously. But, BlackBerry and John Chen are doing things about it. And they've completely changed their business. Whereas Timmy Cook he's just going with the flow, buddy. I've said it tons of times that I think Apple will fall, but it won't fall as far as BlackBerry fell.
No, but they have the resources to see history, and they have the resources to mitigate. So,
under Tim Cook's leadership, I'm starting to think it could happen because they're doing nothing to stop this. They have more ability than anybody else ever to stop, change direction, and continue being successful just because of the amount of money that they have. And we have not seen any movement to do so.
They face issues as well from the planet. The EU is the first, and Japan is the second, or whatever you want to call it. There's going to be some hell to pay because somebody's going to win, against Apple worldwide. It may be the EU and it may be Japan, but there will be more to follow. So it's not just a machine thing. It's an attitude thing and worldwide share thing. You can't be Apple doing what they've done for the last 10 years and keep doing it the way they've been doing it. They will get beaten from a tax perspective and from a machine and technology perspective. It's coming down. It's going to come down.
It's coming down, and I think the cause for it was the encryption debate. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and all these governments that would sweep stuff under the rug and let things go, and it's okay, you know, what they're doing has all changed because Apple stood up and said, we don't care about what the government says, you know, we're going to do what our own, and now the governments are after it. What is Roy doing? I want to know. What are we looking at, Roy?
Look at the picture that I'm sharing now.
Headset.
Is that a headphone jack and an ATM?
Yeah, and see what is wrong.
There's no place for their lightning port. There's something else wrong with that too. I think that's a drive-up ATM with Braille numbers. I don't get that either. But yeah, you're right. It's a standard for a reason.
It's funny.
I saw, I think yesterday, that HTC was going to follow in Apple's footsteps and negate the headphone jack.
Well, Apple's not the first. Other phones have done it too. It's just the iPhone is a
it's just
consumer device across all.
It's the first again.
Well, I mean, we had the the Turing phone, which seems to be a joke in itself. That Motorola, the Motorola that has the connection, whatever. I put the post up on blogs about where they were poking fun at Apple. They don't have a headphone jack either on that phone that they were advertising. There's several phones out there that don't have headphone jacks. But again, even all of those phones use the USB-C for it. You know, so Apple, again, everybody's going to have the same standard, but Apple's going to have their own. But I just think that's
which is dumb. A diminishing standard.
Yeah.
It's a diminishing standard because you have diminishing, percentage worldwide.
It's like my hairline.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can cut that out in post, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can have diminishing. Mine just gets grayer. And Roy, you can flip a coin. Which one do you want? He's not biting. He's not biting.
No, I'm not.
So, Erica, how does it feel to be the only one on the show with a good hairline?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
Oh, we love you.
All right, let's call it. I think Erica's disgusted in us right now.
I'm disgusted, but I'm still here.
Yeah. We're going to say goodnight now.
Good night.
Good night, guys. Thanks.
Good night.